Some things will never leave us. Hello everybody, Tom here. I hope you're all well. I want to talk today about how certain experiences in life, good, bad or indifferent, we will never ever be able to forget in our memory. There is always going to be ingrained certain things in our lives, certain events that we just will never be able to forget. No matter how old we get, no matter what time's passed. Certain things will be favourable, certain things will be unfavourable. Most of us remember our first day at school. I do. It's not a clear memory, but I do. And there will be times gone by in the past where some of you watching will remember your wedding day, you'll remember the birth of your first child, those sort of things. And then there'll be sad things as well. You remember where you were when you remember the family died, that sort of thing, and also sad events that have happened throughout history. I remember where I was when 9/11 happened all them years ago. I remember exactly where I was. I remember how I felt. No matter how much you try and forget and try and move on, some things are there almost like scars. Now the point of today's video is very simple. We will always have a memory, whether it be good, bad, indifferent. We will also have an interpretation of an event that could possibly be incorrect. And I will elaborate on this. My mother and I had a conversation earlier today, both about something that happened years ago, and we both remembered it differently. So everybody's interpretation of what's happened is different. So what I'm trying to say is, with that, we can maybe remove the label of good or bad and reframe the memory in a way that we put it down to experience. We don't label it as good or bad. We perhaps see it as a learning, or as a lesson, or as a blessing, depending on what it is and what it is. Obviously, there's going to be sad things as well that happen, as I said. A pet passing away, a member of the family dying, a friend very suddenly being taken ill, those sort of things. And it doesn't matter what we do, as I said, we can't wash that memory away. What we can try and do, as I said, is try and take something from it. Remember that some of us, no matter how hard we try to forget, it's always going to be there. For myself, I can remember my depression hitting in very hard all them years ago. I remember the low feelings that, and to be fair, I'd like to be able to erase that from my memory, to forget it completely. But equally, I see, in a weird sort of way, I see the value in it now. I also have a steely determination to try not to go back there. You know? Sometimes a memory of an event or something that happened to you can serve as a warning if it's going to happen again, depending on what it is. And maybe the memory of it is actually more serving than what we believe. You know? Example, failing a driving test. You remember what you did wrong, you know what you've got to work on. You come to the second test or the test after, and you know from experience how to attack it better. You also know the frustration of not passing and the sadness of not passing and the frustration, which then probably aligns you for the and makes the success side of it that bit more sweet. You know, I remember graduating from university. I remember getting my exam results all them years ago when I was in school. I remember the pressure of it all. You know, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to succeed, otherwise you won't get a job. Feeling that pressure, that absolute carnage, really. But as I said, some things you can never dismiss. It will always be there with you. Try and remember it, but reframe it if it's not a nice memory. Take out the good or the bad and see what the value and the learning was from it, if there is any at all. And I'm going to leave you with that. Guys, this is my third and final video. I want to say thank you ever so much for listening. I really appreciate the time and energy spent on my channel. Thank you kindly. Third of three, as I said, please put down in the comment section below. As I said, certain things will always be there. There'll be events in your life that are crucial, vital, they're part of the story. Are they the blessing or the lesson? Are they both? Is it something that you need to take something from? Is it there in the memory because at some point in the future you may come across a very similar situation? I, like I said, would love to dismiss the negativity of my depression, the days of heightened depression, but it's there to prove to me that I can get through whatever life throws at me, and that I can try and push forward, because even at my lowest I didn't think I could, and I somehow managed to. So it wasn't such a bad thing to still have that in the back of my mind somewhere, that how I felt, you know. Because another thing is, if I ever felt myself going back to that, I'd know the warning signs. So there's always something somewhere in the memory that is actually helping in a weird sort of way. Please, 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 if you would, consider hitting that subscribe button down below. That'd be great. If you consider giving me a thumbs up and a like, I'd really appreciate that. And let's hear the bell sign go ding dong so you know my next content's out. Back next week with another 3. As always, please take care of yourselves, and bye for now.